So we join back in with our adventurers after the last part. They had talked to previously Prime Minister Alar Moonshadow, now just Professor Alar Moonshadow, who seemed deep in research already into potential solutions. And after a discussion and informing them about the corruption, they will be sending some people over to the cure. They will send some people over to investigate and see what they can do to help increase or sustain the flames. As I'll join back in with Volu, who are you going to take a moment to sneak away while Eleni is distracting the student? Or are you guys gonna come back later or even give them somewhere to meet you? You can meet them in the mangrove.
It's more trying to look around else what's going around. So
if you want to have a little sneak away and have a little look.
I am gonna try and sneak away, but not sneak away, if that makes sense. So
it's more just not be noticed as opposed to sneaking.
No, they're more like here and leading us out, and I'll just be like 20 feet back instead of like 5 feet back. It's just me getting slower and trying not to let them notice that I'm walking slower than them.
Okay. Give me a stealth anyway to see how well you do it.
What is my stealth? 19.
Okay. And then I'd like a perception and then an arcana. As you try to peek.
Purple will be arcana.
Okay.
Oh! Okay, so my perception is 16.
Okay.
And my arcana is 2.
Ooh.
Okay. So.
The worst thing I could have rolled.
So. What I'm going to give, it's not the worst, because basically you're going to get all the information, but you're not going to get the background of what the information necessarily means, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some notes that say enchanted Zikar depletes resonation time is small. There is one sort of piece that's talking about like vein theorem, and it's sort of like you're sort of seeing different.
Is that similar to what we read about in the book?
No, it looks to be that there's all those like maps pinned on the board, and it's a theory that maybe the corruption is caused by Larixa's early terraforming. So they're sort of looking specifically at areas where Larixa messed with the world. Because obviously, again, they don't necessarily know it's like you do, that it's sort of like born from a wound or whatever. So they're definitely it's just sort of like they're sort of looking at some Larixa. I'll put it in the chat for you in terms of the. I know Mum knows it, but.
Okay.
The cat site of. So you see a half-covered project that sort of is a mirror, except that the reflection is like covered in like warped growths and twisted, like almost as if the room is all corrupted. And it's almost like as you stare and look, the reflection of it isn't in a position, Volu, that you can be in it, and it's sort of lying on a table, so it's just reflecting like a bit of the ceiling, but you can see that the candelabra is all warped and twisted vines around it. The ceiling is like bubbled and beginning to almost blister and corrupt, if that makes sense. Almost like the when you were down in Larixa's temple, where the floor and the walls were all starting to shift. It's like the entire room is that. But also, Volu, like, not like when you saw it. When you saw it, it was like fresh. Like the ground, you could literally see the ground changing underneath you. That's all settled, as if it's been like that for forever. Like it was always like that almost. And then the final bits is nearly all of the research around. There's lots and lots, and you notice this. There's lots and lots of research around Larixa and their actions after the failed ritual. So I can't remember what I called it originally historically. But when the actual moment that the world that Larixa tried to release the chaos that was building in Astera, and accidentally because of the arrival of the meteor, lost control of the spell basically and blasted a large chunk of the world apart. So looking into what they did after that, and what you can see is a lot of it just shows that they disappeared. Most people just were not able to talk or contact them after that.
Oh, hang on, no, it just said Larixa's magical blast.
I don't know if I ever historically named it.
Yeah.
There's something that is part of it. We'll go with the Larixa's Sundering. But yes, what you pick up from those notes, Volu, is that basically they lost contact, so they're almost trying to look at bits of magical miracles that were happening around the world, and they're trying to find evidence in the same way as you would maybe search for a god or a goddess that was hiding from you. They sort of picked out some things that happen in Vercel and some things that happen in Ostfell, and looking at maybe she went over to help the people, maybe not like this, but a lot of their focus seems to be around Larixa. It's like they're almost very close to figuring out that it was Larixa that caused it. But that is all you're able to pick up before you find yourselves at the front door.
Okay.
And as you sort of led out again, the main attendant sort of says, "Thank you for visiting. Professor Moonshadow has informed me that we will be sending some people over later tonight. It should only take us 30 minutes or so to get them together, but they will be over soon. Would you like a lift?" And again, because they're not in use, there is available attendants driving people from building to building and that sort of thing.
I'm gonna say yeah, why not? But actually, could we just have a breath of fresh air first? It was quite intense in there.
I
Would it be okay if I had a
understand.
bit of a wander in the ground, maybe in the open air, just to?
Yes, just let one of the drivers know that you will when you are ready.
I'm gonna ask her name, and I would sort of shake the hand.
Cassandra.
It's lovely to meet you, Cassandra. Good luck, and be a little bit more confident in yourself. You have a lot of good qualities.
Okay, and you sort of move away. They sort of join back in with what they're supposed to be doing, and yes, you sort of given a moment away from anybody that's immediately prying or able to hear.
Did you manage to get in touch with him?
They were aware that we're here, and they said they're just finishing up on It's their turn, their shift, but they should be done in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
If we just kind of mull around, we should be able to see them soon.
All right. Let's maybe try and find. Are there any like benches, Liam, that we can sit on, or
Yeah, and I'd say that you can very easily sort of take your time. No one's really pressuring you out here because you're not really disturbing them. And after a short while, just under 10 minutes, because they're rough estimating, you would see from your sort of bench position, magic ring exit, and sort of like they're sort of taking a stretch, but you can sort of tell from your passive insights they're sort of trying to take a look around and see if you guys are still in the vicinity. When they spot you, they'll just sort of say, oh, going for a quick break, and they make their way over and sit across from you.
okay.
I see you are all well from your travels. I am sorry to tell you, I have only got part way into crafting the sheath that's you wanted. It is a little complex to have. I was struggling. Yes, the hilt being all encased as well is
That's all right.
difficult, but unfortunately, I'm not going to get a tremendous amount of time to work on it while all of this is going on. But as soon as I have it, I will let you know. I am doing what I can in my spare time, but we are working shifts in research at the moment. I hope that is okay.
Yes, it's completely understandable. We are still going to need it, though. If you could let us know when things calm down.
Yes, for sure. I will continue to work on it, and hopefully we will have a breakthrough with whatever this thing is. It is a little worrying. I've never seen a disease that resists divine healing before. And you do, with your passive insights, pick up genuine worry. Again, like, even the arcane people haven't really come across something like this. And not that then isn't just a curse and remove curse instead. Like, there's always a solution, and actually to see this many powerful and important people panicking has a lot of the common people worried. They will sort of just like, right, I'm sorry to leave you, but I only have a short while to get some sleep and some food before I must be at it once again. You are able to sending to me. Where should I message? I am not able to cast sending, unfortunately. But where should I message to if I finish early?
You can send to the temple. That's where we're based.
Okay. Right. Well, let me know if you need anything else looking at, or if you need to know anything, or just let me know.
Those pieces of paper we got you.
They turn a little sheepish. Yes.
Judging by what was in those books, you like the unconventional.
It fascinates me sometimes, yes.
Is there anything you've come across which allows something to be harnessed that's not usually harnessable?
How do you mean?
Is not to recreate, but to spread without damaging.
So, like if you had a bonfire, you could stick a torch in it and carry that fire to somewhere else. Well, imagine it
Right.
wasn't fire, but you wanted to have an amount of magical power and you wanted to be able to stick a torch in it and carry that somewhere else.
They sort of rub the temples a little bit from the thinking, but
Yeah.
also from the confusion of deciphering what you're actually talking about.
I was like, I got halfway through
Like,
that and I
well,
thought, this is going to make no sense whatsoever.
well, assuming we can't just stick a torch in it,
We've
you would need
tried
something like a torch that absorbs the properties you want,
Yes.
that.
or a container.
Yes.
Some may
But if
say a lamp.
Ooh.
now, yes,
We did
is
think
it?
lamp, but our experience with gins, maybe not.
Mm,
No, I
Yeah.
just really like the idea of somehow we harness this fire by a genie lamp.
That
Yeah.
would be really fun.
Narratively satisfying to me.
yeah. It depends. If you can't do it by mundane means, it doesn't matter what the solution is. You will need something of power and importance equal to what you are trying to contain.
Would-
Otherwise, it shatters. Anyway, he'll sort of pull out a small gem, and you see him sort of fill it with magical, clearly overfill it with too much magical power, and it just crumbles.
Hmm.
And you're like, so it cannot just be something you find lying around easily.
Could Zikar help?
Zikar is always useful in nearly every magical process that we have found. It naturally absorbs and then reflects the magic being, or outputs the magic being cast upon it, but it is minor. If you imagine one casting of levitate or the enchantment of levitate will keep a vehicle going for years. It is outputting it at such a small rate. If does that make sense? So almost you have to enchant it with high level magics to have it even put out a noticeable amount. It will go for much longer that way also, but although I'm pretty sure I heard somebody saying something about the resonation time is not. It seems the Zikar or something about the corruption itself messes with the Zikar's capability to hold magical properties. Now, I'll be honest, I have only heard a few people talking about this, and I do not know whether this is just the students' rumors or whether this is confirmed, but they are basically thinking that it is learning how to undo, how to fix, how to get past the things that we are putting in front of it. Now, the way it reacts to the Zikar we have put in front of it would suggest that it has encountered it before. It didn't need any time, it just knew how to counteract it.
That's interesting.
That is what has got everybody thinking Luixa is involved. The Zikar being a product of her sundering, of course.
Okay.
But in terms of specifics, I would need to know a lot more than just imaginary bonfires.
That's fine.
But like I said, if you think of any other questions or anything you want me to look at, or some low-level spells you need casting, feel free to contact me.
Thank you.
And they will head off. Again, leaving you in the quiet.
Okay. Interesting.
Eleni, Was the golem made of Zikar?
I didn't think so. I mean, he was crystalline, wasn't he? But he wasn't the same colour as Zikar.
I would say
I don't
that
think it was.
it wasn't the same color as enchanted Zakar, but it was the same sort of dull blue.
Okay, maybe then.
The book that our friend tried to procure, it did contain a lot of information about working with living stone and creating golems.
Yes, it did.
It's a bit of a strange theory and it may not work, but it might be worth seeing if we could imbue the golem that we encountered with Dante's flame. And if that works, could we maybe make more?
Oh,
Definitely an interesting thought. What I will remind both of you of is the golem reacted quite viciously towards Dante.
Yep, I know.
And specifically to him using his elemental magics.
hang on though. So we healed that golem of infection and it got
Mhm.
infected again.
It did. However, as they said, it already seems to understand how to defeat Zakar, and however, worryingly, will it eventually get
That's
past
what was in my head. Yeah.
the current protection and cure?
Yeah.
But yes, I think for that, Eleni, you would sort of determine maybe it acts differently with objects and constructs, because like you cured the floor and it came back.
Yeah.
You know, it was able to corrupt the floor again. So maybe there's something in the way it changes.
Maybe it's different if it's
Organisms.
a living organism rather than
Yeah, and even from what you know, it might even be different plane to plane. However, most of the reports of it curing them consistently has come from most of the planes that the Fae were cured and can't be infected again, and etc. etc. So you would think maybe it's a living organism thing.
I still feel like the thing that Arcanel was talking about is worth doing. If they were saying that's a few hours, that's still better than days.
That could get 24 hours
and
of it.
Yeah. But I still think longer term we need something that is more easily spread in either in water or in some kind of dust that we could scatter, or we need to have some way of spreading the cure quickly, don't we? Let's head back to the temple.
Okay. You'd be able to flag down an attendant and hitch a ride back to the temple. It's fairly quiet and quick with the streets being so empty. You see the occasional guards or the attendants that are checking on houses that have been, and you can see that some of them are still sort of checking on people generally in the streets. As you pass one street, there's like a few guards and attendants talking up to a window, just sort of saying, "How are you? You okay with the kids?" Like they're generally checking in on people as they're sort of moving around the city. And after a short while, would be able to arrive back at the temple, which has calmed significantly now. You can see a lot of the guards that were here helping the masses of people moved have like halved in size maybe, and there's now almost like a slow stream of one person coming out at a time, as opposed to the 10 of them are waking up. And as you sort of enter in, you would see Dante and Ichi taking a bit of a break, both dripping with sweat, few wounds that are being tended to by priests, and there's, getting a bit of bread and drink and something to replenish themselves. To confirm a note for Dante, two of the 5 guards that helped got infected, but obviously were then cured. So there are some of the guards that have now sort of become joined the not able to be. And for Dante and each, you would see the Eleni and Volo entering.
After in all of that, did I get infected?
Roll me a con save.
Damn it. 19.
No, you check yourself over. I think they come in maybe as you've got your armor off and you're just like giving yourself a good check for any sort of rashes or anything, because obviously you'll have taken wounds and stuff to the abdomen or whatever. So you're just sort of checking yourself over. And no, for Ichi and for 3 of the other guards as well, they have wounds, but they no infection.
Right. Oh, hello, you two. How did your excursion go?
Well, Dana and Alara are both fine. We called in, made sure that they were fine. They seem to not be infected. The kids are okay.
Good.
And then yes, we headed back to the Azure Spire Academy. We saw a Moon Shadow. I
Oh,
don't think I was expecting to actually see him. But yeah, they are running themselves ragged trying to find a cure. They're definitely not ignoring this.
that's reassuring at least.
I gave them some information about the fact that we think we have a cure and that only one of our party can do it. I've suggested they send maybe a wizard or 2 down here to actually have a look and see what's going on. And they're going to try and come up with some way of maybe enhancing or sharing or spreading what Dante can do. They seem to think, though, that this infection is sentient, that it's learning. Yeah. And then we also spoke to the guy who's making the sheath for the sword, who's nowhere near finished with that, but understandable, I suppose. And he repeated that. He said the rumor among the students is that it knows what it's doing, and apparently it knew exactly how to get around Zikar. It seems to have come across Zikar before.
Interesting. Right.
So we also have been invited. Well, Alar wants to send an expedition down into the catacombs. He said within 3 days, and he said he'll hire us if we're interested to go down with them.
I mean, it's always good to have some income, bearing in mind we're planning on dealing with this anyway, so at least if we can make some money from that, wonderful.
Yeah.
Right.
How did you guys get on? You look tired.
Fine. Fine. Yeah, just it it's interesting being in these situations in which you're fighting for your life but having to pull your punch. It's luckily a lot of the training I've been through is about that, like subduing, maintaining. Dante is been the one who's been, it's you see one of the infected people maybe slaps him a bit too hard and it kind of makes him go like, oh, wish you hadn't done that. But no, fine ultimately. I can't seem to get a lick of this infection on me. I'm not sure if it's because I'm too barren. I'm used to a lot of heat anyway, so maybe it's, I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah,
if you guys had some kind of immunity, that would be really good to know. But
that would be wonderful. I mean, every time that I know that like plants and crops get infected, it spreads like wildfire because it just needs to get into the root and it takes down everything. But apparently, nothing.
you're just gonna have to stay close to Dante in case you do get infected.
Well, yes. Um, they don't know of any way to take this elemental fire and mass produce it.
Not right now. That's why they're going to send someone down to actually look. I'm afraid we got up there and then I suddenly realised that I didn't necessarily want to tell them everything.
Yes,
Um,
no, of course.
I mean, they're Levixa worshippers, right? They
I don't know. Can't we just, I don't know, get Dante to use his elemental fire to boil a pot of tea or something and
well,
give that to people?
well, Arkana had an idea that was something to do with holy water and Zikar and maybe infusing it somehow with the fire from Dante's flames. And they reckoned it'd take a few hours to do, and then it would probably only last for a certain amount of time, but at least it would give someone other than Dante the ability to take,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, something.
I mean, it's basically what I said,
Mm,
elemental tea,
exactly, yeah.
except, with
Except
fancy
with
words and
stuff.
Zikar crystals. I don't know. I don't know.
Elemental tea sounds good.
Maybe once this is all done, I'll open up a tea shop. That does require Dante to stick around though, because he's the one with the elemental fire.
Yeah,
Which
fair.
ironically can't heat the tea.
Damn.
Ichi throws their like shield across the room.
As long as we're not trying to make elemental sausages, I think we're okay.
So I think
Ah.
at this point, Arcanel would sort of appear over, would ask for you to join.
Okay.
And they would say, I don't necessarily need all of you, but I need Dante, and you might as well come and see. We're putting something together, and I want to see if it works before we continue with the full idea. And they will sort of lead you over, not to their room, but to like a study chamber on the side. And Eleni, you would recognize there is the decanter of the decanter of water that you used that was like water from the waterfalls of
Yeah.
what was it called? It's on the map. On the map. The Sacred Isles.
Yes.
Um, and they've sort of tipped some of it into a bowl and they've sort of laid out some arcane sigils and in the bowl sort of soaking is sort of large and varied size. There's not sort of a perfect cut, but like different size cuts of Zikar.
Okay.
And you can see that they've set up a few bowls. So there's one where the Zikar is completely submerged and is like chunks, almost just like they've like chipped bits off into the bowl. There's one where they've sort of sliced it in the same way that they would to place it on the bottom of vehicles. And I've almost made one larger piece that sort of floats almost in the center of the liquid.
Okay.
And the final one is very finely ground that's almost like sand at the bottom of the liquid. And they're going to sort of just ask Dante to sort of move through and do what they would to a person, but to each bowl and sort of see how it reacts. As he sort of moves through, the one with the larger chunks, they sort of press their flame onto the water, which again is almost an interesting sort of scene to see. And as they sort of dip the fingers in that are still aflame, the flames aren't put out by the water. And as they sort of begin to pump the energy of produced flame into the bowl, the small chunks of Zikar just softly begin to sort of, they don't shift like red, but they almost get like a pinky orangey tint to them.
Right.
And when they're sort of looking, that like as they're doing this, High Priest Arcanine is sort of observing underneath, and you can see it becomes a bit more aware. I think, while none of you are like trained Arcana, it's obvious what they are doing, and they're almost watching the thing and then looking at the sigils around it, and you actually think that the sigils are maybe like a detection, like a way of doing a constant detect magic without having to concentrate on it almost. And different sigils are lighting up around. I can't get my thing to focus now. What has happened to you?
You okay?
The thing won't focus, and I don't know why. It's like zoomed in focus.
Camera is quite, yeah.
It's very blurry.
It does it.
Because it's used to being like.
Yeah, it doesn't usually stay blurred. It does sometimes.
No, it
wave
usually
move
just
around a
goes
bit.
and then settles, but it seems to have. Anyway, I'll keep going. They move over to the second bowl with the Zikar floating on top, the large piece. And as they start to sort of press the energy in, the Zikar does glow more, but it sort of starts to glow and then cracks, and all the energy sort of disperses out of it. Again, they're sort of muttering to themselves and taking notes, and you will be able to hear them sort of saying, not it needs the water to like give structure to reinforce. And then finally tries the one with the sand, almost like sand ground texture. And again, each little fragment only glows and changes a bit. But by the time they're done, Arcanine sort of takes a cloth and sort of scoops some of the sand in and sort of like takes it to a mortar and pestle and starts sort of working with it. And they're like, I might need more time, Dante, don't go too far. I think this will work. I think we could create, as I said, a brazier that lasts 24 hours or so, brazier that lasts 24 hours or so, but that potentially could be topped up. If we can see in the Zikar when it is fading in colour, again, I don't know how long the first time we do it, Dante, we will have to test. And as you're having this conversation, by the time you sort of look back, the pink and red has faded. So like, you're imagining Dante would have to almost sit with it for a few hours, potentially, to enchant it with enough to then hold it for, if you imagine that 6 seconds translated to like 30, 40, 50 seconds sort of time.
Yeah.
So yes, they will sort of maybe take Dante and sort of say, okay, might I borrow you? We have most of those that are heavily infected dealt with now. I am wondering whether this would allow us to speed things up a little bit. I am still worried for those that are maybe stuck down below.
The ex-Prime Minister wants to do an expedition into the catacombs in a couple of days.
Yes, they were already talking about it. The only thing blocking them at the council meetings was the fact that we did not want others to become infected. I imagine if you spoke to him about the cure, he is back on that thinking.
Yes, I did speak to him about the cure. I wasn't sure how much to tell them, but I also felt like keeping that information to ourselves could be more detrimental.
They are extremely ambitious, and I find sometimes ambitious people become distracted, but in general, they are a good person.
Okay. So I think perhaps Dante might need some rest, but yes, we're going to talk about going into the catacombs with Alar Moonshadow. Couldn't think of his name then. Something to be aware of, the people at the academy think that the infection is learning how to overcome Zikar. So we have this use of Zikar here. We may need to keep an eye on it.
It is something I have been thinking. When I tried to divine. I'll be honest, I don't know about for you, Volu, but the visions have faded for me recently, and Astera has become quite quiet again. I tried to do some divining magics about where it could be and other such things, and it all points to all of it talks of a place that is almost a copy, and that the source is not on this plane. I tried to scry using a piece of the corruption that we collected. This is how I got infected, unfortunately. But I tried to scry with using a piece and maybe try and find a main piece or a source almost, and it failed as if they were not on this plane.
Do we have any way of knowing which plane this originated from?
Not easily. I can continue to try scrying, but over planes it is difficult and it is prone to failing. I know one of the messages from the academy that we received was that they had some success peering into what looked like infected planes, but it is very hard to tell anything about them without going there. It could just be another world of hell or something. I don't know.
Well, we know that the fire plane was infected at one point, don't we? But
Yes.
I don't know if that was the first place to be infected or if I can't remember.
Current working. Well, for them, they'll say the current working theory is it originated here, and you do know that
We know it started here and kind of like spread.
At least all the factions believe for everything
that it started here,
and that Lyrixa sort of pushed it.
So that it was here before Lyrixa did her spell and she pushed it out,
that she caused it, and then in trying to stop it or mess with it or whatever, shunted it.
Okay.
Which is why they want to just close us off and shove it back.
Yeah.
Now, the worrying potential truth of this is if it is alive and if it is capable of learning, and has interacted with Lyrixa directly, though I do not. We have very few records of her form or how she presents, though many of the priests and mages say they have not heard her since the Sundering. It might have adapted to god magic. It would explain why it resists all forms of healing. That is divine in nature in itself.
Can I ask a stupid question? And I'm going to ask out again, but you might want to answer in game. I don't know. Do we know what happened to Lyrixa? Because Lyrixa was she a god or was she not really a god?
She was a god.
She was.
So from your
she came here from
understanding,
somewhere else.
She came here from another
because she
universe.
thought we didn't have any gods.
Mm-hmm. She basically is from what you understand, I think from what the common knowledge is that she's from a pantheon.
Right.
In another universe. She came out seeking her own.
So the worshippers here, like obviously we've been talking to Arcanair, and Arcanair is like a priestess of Astera.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a high priestess of Lyrixa?
No, it became extremely outlawed, and it shifted into arcane study. Many masters of the arcane are the holders of the religion.
But it feels like we need a cleric of Lyrixa who's powerful enough to do some kind of commune or something, doesn't
But
it?
also this is where they've been unable to speak to her since the Sundering, so they've faded. You know,
Right.
like it's
Mm.
if no one hears her voice and no one's gifted her powers, so the only people that know about it are the arcane scholars and stuff that are sort of keeping the history.
I mean, I've been feeling like she is not a great person and I don't like her very much, but I'm now
Oh,
wondering,
I don't like her at all.
yeah, but I'm now wondering actually where is she? I mean, maybe finding her and fixing what's wrong with her would help.
The issue with that, um,
But you know, she
we cannot
caused this.
we cannot scry upon a god. Otherwise, finding gods would be easy. You are right, though. It is at the
Could a
time
god find another god? Could Astera find Laritza?
potentially. Maybe, I mean, I've mentioned it before, but maybe we need to send somebody, if not yourselves, then somebody else to one of the Sacred Isles and to
Sacred Isles.
maybe some of the other holy sites and
I think that
see if we can commune with Astera.
I think we have to do that as soon as we get this infection under control, or at least give you guys a way to keep it under control while we're not here. I can't imagine us being able to leave until that happens. Otherwise, the minute we leave, you're just going to get more people being infected again.
Did you show the strange crystal object to?
I left it with her. I gave it to Arcana.
Oh, you left it with her
Remember
to
when
look
she
at.
was going to sleep, I gave it to her and let her
Mhm.
hold it.
I didn't think you. I thought you took it back
The
after that
egg.
interaction.
The egg. No, I think I'd left it with her to sort of while she was
That's fine.
sleeping, and yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah, that's
happy to
fine.
take it back again.
No, it's fine. They would.
I mean, I would ask actually if she's been able to look at it. If she's
I haven't been able to find out anything about it. And again, I don't know. Maybe it is worth having the mages look at it, as it resists my divination magic in the same way some heavily artifact style items are capable of. However, arcane magics can do things that might be able to.
I'll I'll take it back from her, and yeah, I will show it to the next
Maybe
mage
when
that I see.
their researchers arrive to speak with Dante.
Yeah,
But definitely, I think it is too intertwined. I can't see how it isn't involving Laritza at this point. And I will be honest, I from everything I have learned, the temple obviously has a very fixed opinion of Laritza. She harmed our goddess. She harmed the world. She caused many people to suffer, and but I do not get the feeling that they are evil.
how long have they been quiet? How long has it been since the Sundering?
A
1,000 years, isn't it?
few thousand.
Because I mean, can you imagine if maybe she's locked up somewhere and trying to escape, and that's why the infection is actually
Well, I mean, this is the
caused? I
thing.
mean,
That when we spoke to, I don't know. It does not. Maybe it is just my mortal brain not understanding. But when I imagine an evil god, they would delight in this. No, they would be all powerful while the world suffers, or at least how I think I understand how gods work. They seem to draw power from our worship, right?
yeah.
Or from something that happens in the world already. But I think they are foolish, and it seems like gods are not all powerful, all knowing as we maybe think them. I mean, Astera is a planet.
We mortals make mistakes that can have catastrophic effects. And that's who we are. When a divine being makes a mistake, sometimes it's harder to fix. They don't have a support network, I suppose, especially when they're leaving another pantheon to come here.
And from what I hear, their religion, and they do sort of like religion, not physically, but I say that's because it's everyone who was gifted the arcane. I do not know what you know of the histories, but before Laritza, we could only access divine magic to those who were capable of hearing Astera's call. When Laritza arrived, she gifted many of the struggling peoples access to the arcane. So as you can imagine, her worship exploded, but also any sort of formal religion. They do not have temples. There is no culture or order. She did not give tenants. It was just, here is magical gifts, worship me. There is not even any holy text. In the beginning, when they were present, she chose a few that were her clerics, and they.
Perhaps she was very young. She sounds naive.
I think so too. And our god or goddess doesn't appear like a normal, or at least like one that they were expecting, not one from a pantheon.
No.
But yes, I think definitely some things to think upon. And for now, we at least have, if we could prepare a few of these bowls, maybe use Dante, take Dante for a day. If the expedition is in 3 days, that gives you some time to prepare. And we can at least begin maybe taking the cure to some of the quarantined houses rather than trying to move them. That would help stop their potential to infect others.
Yes. It would also get rid of some of those people on the streets selling false cures.
Yes. We could start to station priests throughout the city potentially. Though again, only maybe we have a day. We can, make it I wonder if it works on a larger scale. Dante, we must try with a bath, and then sort of. They're almost thinking like you could have like a public bath housing. Come and
maybe like a sprinkler system, like something that like rain, and people could
well,
walk
again, I'm
through
thinking of a way that we can. Yes, although it does
A
like
baptism
you said,
of fire, if some might say.
It doesn't necessarily work on people who haven't been infected, but that's why I was thinking maybe it is something we need to integrate, that they collect water from this place that we
can integrate heat into it, we could use a sauna kind of environment, allow the water vapor,
like steam
therapy.
But for now, let's work on the small scale for now, so we can work on the current problem. But
yes.
I will maybe contact the House Glass family. They have a steam engine, though.
They do, yes.
Maybe there is something we could do there.
I mean, hey, it'll continue our relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if Dante's the one causing it.
And to be fair, to remind you, you do have to check in and see if he's finished it, because he's making the material version on magical, just a lead sheet to put it in to doubly protect it while it's in the.
But we haven't contacted them. We have no idea if they're infected or in quarantine or what.
You haven't. You decided not to, just based on the fact that they were already pretty secluded.
Yeah.
And fairly switched on to these things. You don't think they're going to be like panic, running out to get cures or anything like that. He's very likely just locked himself in his workshop and said, like, that's actually perfect for him.
He's
It is
probably
a
not.
li-
He's probably not even noticed. He's been in the workshop and no one's been around him, and he's just been
either
carrying on tinkering.
he's either not noticed, or if you remember last, he was having to let people in his workshop to check to figure out how to mass produce his current things.
Yeah.
This is a legitimate reason to be like, no one's allowed in my workshop. Quarantined. No, people, everyone out. Can't catch the infection. Can't have me
Yeah.
infected. Out. It's like, so if he does know about it, it was just perfect for him to be like, everyone leave my space now. But yes, you can at any point contact him if you want to send him a message and maybe see, because essentially, and it's up to you guys now, it will only take, especially with at least the water bowl system, it would only take Dante another few hours and maybe a day to clear at least the people that are in the temple. If then they are capable of going to houses with the prepared water bowls, that then means that Dante doesn't need to trek around the city. It would then be up to you. So you've got a day and a half-ish at least of Dante still having to spend all day healing, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's then up to you whether you want to say to Alar, yes, we're up for going and we want to go in 3 days when you were planning to, or whether you want to go faster. It's up to you how much prep time you want. And then in that time, you can see people do things, etc. So
I think it's less about, for me, it's less about us prepping, and it's more about we need to get to a tipping point where enough priests and enough guards and enough wizards are immune.
Yeah,
But
I
we
think
can
if
go
we
into the catacombs for a couple of days and we're
and
not
not
going to come
worry.
back to a full-on zombie riot.
I think if we do take these 3 days to allow Dante to get through as many people as they can, hopefully work with the other people to try and like figure out if they can infuse it.
The steam engine as well is a very good idea to
Yeah.
sort of have it pumped out.
I have someone I want to get in contact with, so
I mean,
we've got some days.
we've got a little bit of time if people want to sort of drop any messages. If you want to privately drop me and sort of say this is who I want to contact. But Arcanair would sort of say, you are welcome to stay and watch as we do some enchanting of these ritual stuff, but I do not need you for anything. You are welcome to do what you wish with your evening, and it is maybe about 4 p.m.ish.
Okay.
Also, time check.
I mean, I don't know how many spells you've got left, Volu, and I don't know if you want to be using them all, but is it worth us dropping Thaddeus?
Yeah, I could send him a message.
Yeah, even just to see him tomorrow or later or whatever.
Ichi is going to that evening kind of like start formulating a possible plan to get in contact with Madame Oracle.
Okay. Yeah, I think you would know where you need to get a message to.
Yeah, so Ichi will kind of write a message that just kind of simply outlines of like, is it possible for us to meet again? I have a request of information. I understand this doesn't come freely, so would appreciate a meeting to discuss terms.
And it depends. Are you including the group, or are you trying to do this subtly? Because Aileni has the bird that can just take it directly to Madame Oracle.
It's not trying to do it like subtly. Like, yeah, if anything, I will kind of like seek Aileni out to be like, could you send this to Madame Oracle? But I don't want to include them directly in the
note. Yeah,
message.
this is it. You're not saying
The message is from.
Yeah, messages from me, but they can come as well if they wish, because obviously it's a further relationship with Madame Oracle. If they want to cut ties, they can.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. But yeah, Aileni, you would be able to definitely send a message directly to them with the Silver Raven.
Okay.
And Savolu, what would you like to say to Thaddeus?
Hey T, Just checking in. How are you getting on with a sword? We may need to talk to you about using a steam engine. Are you available to meet?
Okay. There would be a brief pause, and they would say, lead sheath completed.
Oh.
Yes, we can meet. Bring Dante. I have something cool.
Ooh.
You know, it's good when he says he's got something cool. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And as you receive that message back, and almost maybe there's the smell of dinner wafting from the kitchens, and with sort of a plan of action for what to do next, that is where we will call the end of this session. Thank you very much for playing. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying the adventure so far, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you know when the videos come out. And as always, roll well. Bye.